Welcome back. As government pushes forward with its vaccination rollout, an increasing number of businesses and employees have turned to the South African Human Rights Commission to seek counsel on how to resolve an impasse over those refusing to take the jab. The Human Rights Commission has appealed to people who feel compelled by their employers to get vaccinated to lodge a complaint with the Commission. Let's now speak to the Commission's Gauteng Manager, Buang Jones, for an update on those complaints. Buang, thank you so much for making time. You announced last week that people who feel compelled to take the vaccine, they must approach the South African Human Rights Commission. How many complaints have you received so far?
So far, the Commission has received over 30 complaints from security officers, domestic workers, employees in the corporate sector and the public sector.
And what's the basis of the complaints? Are they saying that their employers are forcing them to take the vaccines? Are they giving them options? How bad is it?
Well, in some respects, the employers are asking employees to consider taking the vaccine, but having reviewed most of the complaints that we've received, these are employees who have been given a deadline by when they should take this vaccine. If they fail to take it, the employer will then take appropriate action, which includes possible dismissal of these affected employees. And that is our concern as the Commission. And that is why we've indicated that we would like to facilitate an amicable settlement to ensure that the corporate sector and employers uphold and protect human rights. Protecting and upholding human rights has been viewed primarily as the responsibility of the public sector towards the people they serve, and yet the Companies Act provides that companies must fulfill and promote compliance with the Bill of Rights in their business operations. And that's what we are trying to get at, to ensure that companies do fulfill their constitutional responsibilities and adhere to our Constitution and the basic human rights principles.
Yeah. Have you already started facilitating discussions with other companies arising from the complaints you've received? And what's been the response? Because I can imagine it's quite a tricky one, because even the Department of Labour indicated last week that at the end of the day, it's the responsibility of the employer to check if there are other ways that they can accommodate an employee who doesn't want to take the jab, and if they've done a risk assessment and they believe the best thing for the broader employees is for this person not to be welcomed at work, they can easily dismiss them. So how tricky has it been in negotiating what you say could be an amicable settlement?
It is quite a tricky one, because this requires the balancing of rights. We have a number of competing rights which employers have to grapple with, and a determination has to be made which rights supersede the other. And the current legislative framework in South Africa does not give employers that mandate to employ or to conduct compulsory immunization, or to demand that. But of course, compulsory immunization must be considered alongside employment legislation and regulations, such as the Labour Relations Act, the Occupational and Health and Safety Act, Employment Equity, and the Basic Conditions of Employment, where employers may use these key pieces of legislation to introduce vaccine policies in the workplace. There are employers who are considering amending the current contracts of employment with their employees, and we have encouraged some of these employers who have approached the Commission to engage in meaningful discussions and conversations with the affected employees. We would like to see these conversations to yielding positive results, because we don't want to see people being dismissed or rejecting the vaccine based on constitutional or other grounds.
Yeah, you've indicated that amongst those that have complained are, gardeners, they're teachers, they're domestic workers. Are they not facing victimization by approaching the Human Rights Commission to intervene? How are you handling that?
Well, the good thing about lodging complaints with the Human Rights Commission, you can elect to remain anonymous. Most of them have approached the Commission and have requested their identity to be withheld, and the Commission is required to do so in terms of our own complaints handling procedures. We, however, have a duty to engage with these employers and to also consider all available legal options to ensure that the rights that are alleged to be infringed are not infringed. And we hope that through our engagement with the employers, that these employers will not face any reprisals or any forms of victimization, because that will be regrettable. And the Commission will then be forced to also consider litigation to protect the rights of the employees.
All right, Buang Jones, thank you so much for your time on the lead this afternoon. He's with the South African Human Rights Commission.